This is the Stockwell Eldridge Show, giving you the real-time information you need to make educated decisions about buying and selling in the world-renowned Twin Cities. Now your hosts and real estate experts, Jason Stockwell and Don Eldridge.
Our house in the middle of our street. Our house.
Good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I'm Jason Stockwell with RE/MAX Results.
I'm Diane Eldridge with RE/MAX Results.
And we have another great show for you today. Matthew is in here today. We'll get some information from him and hopefully some valuable tips for sellers out there. And I'm sure there's a lot of sellers that will be able to utilize his services. We have Sparkles here. Stephanie Havel, welcome back. How you doing?
It's great to be back. I'm doing great. Thanks for
You
asking.
look great. I love the necklace. I love the green.
Thanks. Green, power color, money.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And if you, as always, you can check us out on YouTube and on Facebook. Stockwell Eldridge Show on Facebook. On YouTube, just search for Stockwell Eldridge, ELDREDGE. Did I rock that,
right.
Diane?
That's right. Very
So
good.
Diane is filling in for Dawn, and we have some sad news. Dawn was in an accident recently, and it's one of those ones that you're like, what in the world? When I heard about it when Diane called me, I was like, what in the heck happened? I'll let Diane maybe share what happened with Dawn. She's recovering right now, but it was one of those freak deals that happened, right? What happened,
Crazy.
Diane?
She was in a coffee shop and chatting with a friend, and a woman put her foot on the gas pedal instead of the brake and crashed through a huge glass pane. And unfortunately, Dawn and her friend were hit. But the good thing is they're home recovering and doing the best they can at this time. Yep.
So that's the things that you read about sometimes, or you see on like I'm on Facebook, at night sometimes after the kids
Right.
go to bed, like I said before, and you see these things where a car goes rolling into a restaurant or rolling into a building, and it's usually a case. It's not someone necessarily trying to outrun the police or something like that. It's, hey, they accidentally.
It's distracted
Tromped on
driving.
the-
It has to be. You get in your car. And, the only thing I can think of, too, is nowadays with these cars, like I have a new car, and you push the button, you step on the brake, to start the car or whatever.
Yes.
And sometimes, too, like, to turn it off, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I got to get going, whatever. I mean, you can step on that, and then you think, okay, it's the brake, the gas. I don't, because you're so distracted. The phone's ringing or something like that. Or,
So my tip is stay in the moment.
right.
Try to focus on what's taking place at this particular time and not get wrapped up in everything else around you.
Especially when driving. So we're thankful that Dawn, one, is alive, and two, that she recovers from this. And another tragedy happened in real estate. If there's any realtors that listen to our show, if you're in the real estate business, one of the main, the guy was great to me all through the years that I've known him. He actually came to our office and gave classes on MLS. So when we take a property, put it for sale, there's certain things you have to do in the MLS to put the property in there, and you have to do it properly. Otherwise, you can get fined or get complaints, and it's all for the benefit of the consumer. The whole reason behind this is so that the consumer gets as accurate information as possible. Well, Hugh was in charge of that, and he, I believe, and Stephanie, do you know what happened? He was driving a motorcycle, and
All I heard was just, it was in a motorcycle accident. Or that I didn't really.
What I heard is the driver was texting, looking down to text, hit him, and then he went in the hospital and then just didn't make it. It was it was a week or so that he was in the hospital trying to recover, and then died.
Right.
I mean, it's tragic, and he was father, I think, and he was only in had to be 40s or 50s.
Yeah, I was going to say younger guy.
40s probably. Awareness is going out on that. So if you're driving right now, listening to the radio show, that's great. Texting and driving, I tell you, that's the one reason why I'm personally afraid of riding on a motorcycle or driving a motorcycle. I used to have a motorcycle when I was younger, and the distractions then were bad enough. You had the radio, and maybe the person in your car talking,
Well, texting.
the texting throws it into a whole new ballgame.
Right. And people are like, well, I voice text or whatever, which I am guilty of doing, but it's still just, even talking on the phone, because, and especially, when we're talking even real estate or mortgage, we get in these conversations and sometimes it's an intense conversation.
Pulls
and
your attention.
Yeah, you're not really focused. I mean, you think you are. And I tell my team that too, as far as multitasking. People think they can multitask. Yeah. You're not listening when you're multitasking.
My doctor told me that deaths from texting accidents has risen over alcohol-related traffic deaths.
Really? That's staggering. Yeah,
so
our
it's really
thoughts and prayers go out to Hugh,
serious.
his family,
Blessings
and
to his
great
family.
guy, an unfortunate tragedy. So with that, just be conscious of that. I know there's PR, there's commercials, but I tell you, these things are such an addiction that it's so hard to not. In real estate, especially in a lot of business, you have to be at the beck and call, and you want to be ready and available, and you're driving, and so you've got to figure
Technology's probably got to come to the point where your cell phones are going to automatic be inactive or something. You know, when you're driving, the technology they have in cars now, how they can detect, they can drive it for you. I can see them interacting and deleting.
If they can drive it for you, then you can be on your phone, right? No.
Deleting the cell service or something, causing frequent waves so you can't be on a cell phone if your car is in drive or something like that. I just don't know any other way. I mean, the public's, how to get it better or get people to stop.
Try to minimize the distractions while you're driving. Stay in the moment again.
Right. Well, even driving your GPS, I'm guilty of it. I can't. Yeah, I couldn't find my head if it wasn't attached some days. So, drag GPS, I'm totally
GPS, you got all kinds of things. Yep.
Yeah.
It's tricky out there. So and Diane, you'd said prior to the show that the police officer that came to see Dawn on the scene said that they typically they do not sit. They see this a lot, right? So they do not sit in the front of a restaurant.
They do not. They sit away from the glass because these kinds of things happen more frequently than the public knows about.
Yeah, that's scary. So
it is scary. I mean, I always choose the window.
Right. You want sunshine and feel good, see what's going on outside.
A view. I'd like a seat with the view.
Yeah.
Now it's I want a seat in the back.
Right. Well, prayers for strength and healing for Dawn. And then also, Hugh's family as well. It's really sad.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that was tough. So just awareness for everybody out there, because there's a lot of things going on, and those are, I don't want to say silly, but things that shouldn't be happening. That when someone's in their 40s, prime of their life, and then they die because of a cell phone a text, which probably was a text about who knows what. I'm sure, you know what I mean. There's not very many texts that are life and death that you need to respond back to.
Right. Well, and why we focus, Jason, on your great quote that you end the show with: "Love yourself and love others."
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
So
shifting, that's all. So the real estate world's been hurt a little bit this week and locally with the realtor community. But overall, we'll shift gears back into the real estate show and the market here. Diane, very active market still. A little bit of a slowdown I've seen on some of the showings. Maybe it's the heat of the July. Maybe it's just the heart of the summer, July and August. Maybe a little bit slower with all the people doing all kinds of summer activities. Mm-hmm. But things are still selling, but there's a little bit of a slowdown as opposed to 3 months ago, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Less multiple offer situations, but still the market's strong, very strong. As we approach the election, seeing all these flags everywhere, we'll probably see a little more change, but... It's still a good.
So it's still good,
market.
and there still are multiple offer situations. There still are, but it's just not. It seemed crazy, 3 months. It seemed crazy in the spring and even early in the year. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem. It seems really good, just not crazy right now. So that's good. That's still. It's overall still a good time, and a lot of people that I work with and colleagues and clients are predicting a very good mid-August through September, a kind of a fall. A good fall.
Yeah, for everything we're seeing in economic indicators, like Wells Fargo, economists give us updates, and very strong throughout the year. Just rates remaining low with Brexit. We're still going to see a positive rate impact from that. And I was going to say, our pre-approvals, they're not slowing down. So people
Great.
are getting the word. We've got a lot of people coming in and calling, and plus, I know I've talked about it before. Wells Fargo, the only lender that has a 3% down conventional product.
Yes.
So what the great thing about that is we see a lot of people that can't, they can qualify non-contingent, which means they don't have to sell their existing house. They had the great house comes on the market and they want to buy it and they're super excited. They think they have to have 20% down, so and they're not going to sell their existing house, so we're going to have to wait. Well, we've got a great 3% down conventional product, so maybe they can take from their savings, put 3% down, buy that new house, and then when that existing house sells, then they can put that money down on that new mortgage. So it's really opening up a lot of opportunities for people because they don't have to put down 10 or 15.
And this is a new product.
Yes, and
that's
exclusive
available
to
the
Wells
public.
Fargo.
Yeah.
Typically, conventional loans, you have to put down a minimum of 5%. So we have a product that's 3% down. And there are no restrictions. You do not have to be a first-time home buyer. It doesn't matter how much money you make. As long as your loan amount is below 417, which is a conventional conforming loan amount. So yeah, there's no little tricks or caveats to it. I mean, obviously you just have to have, typical qualifying, and realtors love it because it's conventional.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right. We're seeing a lot of things, FHA are still really good loans, but they're a little bit more picky on properties, and, more particular with the buyers. So yeah, so if you want more information, Wells Fargo, you can call my, Stephanie Havel, 612-940-7335. Love to give you some information about it. It's called Your First Mortgage. But yeah, so get those listings ready because we have buyers.
And that's a good point about the 3%. So if you are in a multiple offer situation, if it is a very good priced property and you have multiple offers and your only alternative is a FHA, and if there's an FHA and a conventional going head to head, and they're equal, let's say, in price, most sellers will pick a conventional. So if you can get into that program.
Well, and what's really cool, I forget to mention this really cool, which I think a lot of realtors like, is there's a home buyer. If you take a home buyer education class, you can take it online through frameworks. You can get a 1/8% discount in your interest rate. So it's just part of Wells Fargo, really helping home ownership.
Oh, wow.
And some people are like, oh, God, I've owned a home for 20 years. What do I need to know? Well, right? Is it the same? I mean, Diane, you've probably been in real estate for a while. It's nothing like it used to be, right?
Oh my goodness, no.
And so, a lot of the savvy customer, they might say, oh, 1/8, it's not going to make that much of a difference in my payment. But, we encourage, if moms and dads or your college kids, get your kids around the computer and let's talk about home buyer education and what it really takes to buy a home these days. And then get the benefit of the 1/8 discount.
Long term,
right?
too, an 1/8 is a huge.
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years is a big amount. So
Yeah,
great program,
absolutely.
and that's something you should, if you are FHA and you can get into that, I would recommend that as well. So thanks, Stephanie. We'll be back. We'll be talking with Matthew Welschinger. Did I nail it?
Correct.
Awesome. Matthew Welschinger when we get back about you as a seller. Stay tuned.
It's